So I'm going to welcome Sue Barker, who's going to share about her work with Forum. Sue's been, you've been with us probably since we've been here, haven't you?
We actually went when you were in the school as well.
You came in the school as well.
A couple of times, yeah.
So anyway, go on. So let's give Sue a warm. Well, we did give her a welcome. Did I miss that? It needs to be louder. Okay, well done, Sue.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Hi. For those who don't know me, my name's Sue, and I am a member of the church. You may not see me as often as my husband Andy, but yeah, we're a team. So I've been asked to share a personal testimony around my work life. I think that's right, yeah? So right from the get-go, I'm going to tell you who I'm currently working for, some important stuff before I lose it, because I can't see the clock for the flag. Right, because I've been given 10 minutes, okay, and I need to stay on track. Okay. Because those who know me, time. Okay, so, yeah. So I work for Forum Housing Association, okay, and it's supported accommodation. It's not just putting a roof over somebody's head, it's supported accommodation. Forum was founded in 1969, okay, by Nina Corcoran, who was a church social worker. And at that time, there was a need within the church. There was some young girls who become pregnant, and back in the day, that was a big thing, it was an issue. And so Nina, with some other social workers and some members of the church, got together and they developed, they found a house and they started to develop supported accommodation for young mums. So it's an organisation with strong Christian foundations, values and ethos. We're a not-for-profit registered society. So we do provide short-term, low-level housing. Well, that's what it says on the paper. In reality, it's more than that. So it is meant to be short-term, low-level housing, Wirral and across Cheshire. Cheshire West, Cheshire East, and in Warrington. The accommodation is open to all ages from 16 upwards. Up until about 3 years ago, we capped it at 25. But the local authority knocked on our door and said, Sue, we need to get those sleeping rough off the streets. Can you help? And there then our journey diversed into the older age group. And we're very much focused on the individual and their journey. No matter what their background and what needs they come with. Homelessness covers both affluent areas and those where there's more poverty. Because by not paying your rent, relationship breakdown, abuse. Almost 600 people during 2020 received, this is us as an organisation, we received over 800 referrals. That was in 2020. It's since increased. Around 30% are females. Over 70% are aged between 16 and 25. Let me tell you, that's a lot of young people. And around half have some level of health and well-being issues. So what can you do? What can we do? The first thing I would say is don't judge. It's hard, isn't it? Particularly the younger ones and the standing in a group. You know, we want to walk around them. But we don't know their story. We need to be kind, and we all need help sometimes. We need to understand the true meaning of respect and treat everybody on an equal basis. Give people a chance, because they, like us, want to improve lives. So, how can you help? Speak to me later, get to know a little bit more about us, because I could tell you a lot about Forum. I haven't got time. But come and work for us. We are struggling to recruit. Can you believe? There's a lot of people out of work, and yet we're struggling to recruit. Come and volunteer with us. We have some great volunteers, and that volunteer base is growing. And that volunteering is about bringing what skill you have and helping others, to benefit from that. Partner with us in prayer. And prayer is what's kept us strong as an organisation. Donations, you can go online and you're able to donate. The funding we get is very limited. Some of our projects have a contract with the local authority still. Others we've lost. Because, as you know, particularly on Wirral, they're strapped, aren't they? And more, they're looking to the community to help. And so as an organisation, we work strongly with other organisations, and have people coming in and supporting the work that we do. So the question is, if I was to ask you, what is homelessness? And I'm not, because I know I'm strict for time, so I'll tell you. It's literally living directly on the street, okay? But those that's living in our accommodation as well are also homeless, because it's not a permanent accommodation. There's a lot of hidden homeless. There's a lot of individuals who are sleeping on sofas. And when COVID hit us, I had to mention that word, but it was a reality check for the government, the council, and organisations. Because the data that they have when people go to the council to say that they need accommodation, that they're homeless, is one figure. But when COVID hit, families then that were housing friends and their sons' friends and everybody else suddenly could no longer live there. And so the homelessness population increased dramatically. So it is a big issue. We're also working with young people who are leaving care, and particularly those working with individuals who are at risk of violence within their home, domestic abuse. Individuals struggling on low benefits, low income, prisoner releases as well. We accommodate a lot that come from prison, asylum seekers and refugees. So we are more than just bricks and mortar. So our vision and aim is to provide a safe and supported place for people to stay, with self-contained accommodation, with maybe up to 2 years. Actually, the council is saying, no, Sue, 12 years, 6 months really. And so there's an awful lot of negotiation that has to go on. We provide one-to-one and group work, real focus on health and well-being, and money management, and encouraging positive behaviours and lifestyles, and trying to help access to employability and to other services. So what about me and my role? Well, as I said, Andy's my husband. We have 4 children, okay? And I moved from Netherton, Liverpool. I moved to the Wirral in 1977. I left home because I needed to at the age of 13, 14. Fortunately, I had extended family who I could go and live with. This was due to family difficulties. During that time, I attended a youth group at Speller Lane Church, became a Christian at the age of 15, 16 years of age. In 1973, at the age of 19, I then went to a Christian youth camp. It was a WEC camp. It was there that I met my husband. We've been married, so that was probably 3 years later. We got married, and we've been married 47 years. I want to give God the glory for that. At the camp, I was baptized in the Holy Spirit. At that point in my life, I realized that, I was a Christian, and it was a real experience, but now I was coming to realize that I needed to make Jesus Lord of my life. And so at that camp, that's exactly what I did. I just gave my life right over to the Lord. Every bit of my journey that I've been on, I said, Lord, over to you, make some sense of my life. That was when I saw my first miracle, when I saw somebody's leg grow in a tent. And I asked the Lord to baptize me in His Spirit. And He did. From my work experience at the age of 14, I had work experience in a special needs school. So that was, at the age of 14, it was a big thing for me, working with young people with different difficulties. At the age of 15, I then went on to be a cadet nurse, and then went on to do my general nursing for about 7 years. I then was, at that point, at the end of that, I was working on a maternity ward, and I got pregnant. So, and in those days, got married in 1976. You left work. You just left work in them days. So left work, couldn't afford it, but that's what you did. And Andy, the onus was on Andy to keep us on an even keel. He was nursing then at that point, very minimal income. And again, I just thank God that He kept us. I remember one occasion, we were sitting at the table, nothing to eat, prayed, knock on the door, and one of our neighbours came with food. And we take so much for granted, don't we? Even, the fact that we have a roof over our head, we have food on the table. Now living on the Wirral with 4 children, we were struggling. I did some working nights in nursing home, cleaning, childminder. We did what we did. Andy and I hardly saw one another. And then I was approached by somebody in a church that said, can you please come and help us? Would you be interested in doing some work in our organisation? That was Forum. So I started off doing casual work. Then I became permanent. I did 12 hours. It wasn't easy. Then I got a permanent contract for 24 hours. That was a stretch, 4 children. Andy was hardly there, but did it. And then eventually I did become full-time in the organisation. I've been with Forum for 28 years. My involvement grew as I saw the need for Forum to work more holistically with residents. As I say, it's not just about bricks and mortar, but it's about working holistically. We had over 600 people over a year working with us that have needs. And so, probably because of my background, I started to work differently, and as an organisation we grew. I was able to bring my skills, experience, and try and make a difference to the lives of residents, some of whom I'm still in contact now. One young lady rung me, was it this week? Andy and I sitting on the couch. She rings me, "Hi Sue, have you been to church? How are you?" And that's the depth of connection that we've had with some of our residents. My role has gone from being a support worker to now a director of operations. Yes, what am I supposed to do? Business planning, making sure we're financially viable, dealing with contracts, recruitment, people development, and making sure that the services on the ground are functioning effectively and outcomes are being met. I'm supposed to work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. It's not always the case. I'm supposed to be based in an office, not always the case. I do travel around the different boroughs. Yeah, working in this field of work has been very demanding and has required commitment and understanding by those around me. I've come home sometimes perplexed, just needing to switch off. Making life-changing decisions, whether we issue eviction notices on individuals, sometimes having dealt with a death. Making big decisions that could impact somebody's life dramatically. It's hard. God is central to everything we do in Forum. We pray before committees and we deliver services based on our values. We have a heart, and our values: heart, hope, empathy, acceptance, respect, and trust. And just to end, I've been steered by the belief that this was God's plan for my life, and having a very understanding and supportive husband and family is the reason why I'm standing here. The impact of my work has been great, been both a challenge and a blessing. Family is my personal life family. We have family in church, and I have family in work. When you consider how much time we actually spend in our workplace, taking sleep out the equation, for me, it's been a lot more than with my personal family and even church. It does impact on health and well-being. I've got a gym pass, which I never use but refuse to close it because I'm determined. Relationships can become frayed at times, both personally, church, and work life. And God has had to rescue me so many times, trying to keep the balance between everything. And those songs that we sang this morning was just a reminder of being blessed by what God has done in my life. And I just want to close with a verse that's been close to me right throughout my journey, and it's Isaiah 40:31. And I'm constantly having to go to just lean on that, because we have a God that has no limitations, nothing too small or too big. And the verse is, "Those that hope in the Lord shall renew their strength. We will soar on wings like eagles. We will run and not grow weary, walk and not faint." Thank you.
Thanks, Sue.